Welcome to Synthaholic Games. It's me,
Oh,
David Duncan.
we talk about games here. I'm Brian. We like the games, eh?
We like games.
Who am I? I'm Waddle from Star Wars.
Yeah. Yes, indeed you are.
Anakin, I'll give you 5 cents for him.
5 cents? 5 cents for what?
Oh, I'm not role playing. We're not gonna role play.
We're not gonna just do the entire thing as Watto Jar Jar.
We're not gonna do that. We don't talk about Star Wars anymore. We're not gonna do a role play between Watto and Jar Jar Binks.
Why not?
What a way to start. Right at the top of the episode. Well, this is nothing that has nothing to do with anything, but we're just gonna do a whole role play session between Jar Jar Binks and Watto.
I mean, well, why not? It's not the strangest thing we've done.
So I don't know. That might be.
It's I don't know. There's the whole Smash or Pass that never came out. That was probably.
That's true.
Weirder.
That's also that's yeah, but this is coming out for sure, and that's
yeah. All right. So
here we talk about games.
Yeah,
and gaming news. And sometimes I think I might start throwing in some movie stuff because we don't talk about that on the main podcast. But I can't think of any. I've saw a movie thing in the past like 2 months that I wanted to talk about, but I wasn't sure if I should bring that up on the podcast or here. And I didn't talk to you about that. So what would you prefer? Let's figure out how we're going to do these live.
Oh, yeah, sure. Something like that. But anyway, game industry layoffs are not the result of corporate greed, and those affected should drive an Uber, says ex-Sony president.
So it's nice to see that Sony really understands the people, what the people need here. That's kind of crazy. So the whole point of this article was that there's layoffs and gaming trouble, and somebody high up in Sony is just like, it's not greed that's causing the problem, which is so removed from like reality where the executives don't like they legitimately don't think it is greed. Like that's crazy that they would think that. I don't know. What's your take? Do you think do you agree with the guy?
Well, it's 100% corporate greed. And
right? And he's saying it's not though.
Oh, we didn't pull up this article, but just speaking of Sony, we were going to move from oldest to newest, but since Sony is specifically in the name of this thing, speaking of corporate greed, Sony announced the $700 PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't care.
Yeah.
I hate mid-generation things. Mid-generation things are just dumb. They are probably a headache for game devs. And then if Xbox releases one, they have 3 tiers of Xboxes they have to do, because there's a Series S, which hampered Xbox Series X from the start because everything had to have parity between the S and the X. And it took forever for Baldur's Gate 3, like the biggest game of last year, to even come to Xbox because of the stupid parity between Xbox Series X and Series S. And
I wonder what's going on with Xbox and developing on it, because Baldur's Gate isn't like, it comes up pretty regularly where studios say that like, oh yeah, our Xbox version is going to be delayed. The first one that came to mind is Pale World. There's another one that recently came out that I can't think of it off the top of my head, but Black Myth Wukong. That game also is being delayed on Xbox because they're having technical issues. What's going on with the Xbox that everything you have to have technical issues? That's 3 I can think of off the top of my head, so I'm sure there's more.
Because the Series X is a next-gen console, but it's basically a halfway point between the Xbox One and the Xbox Series.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody should buy an Xbox.
It's a weird mid-generation console that came out at the beginning of the generation, mid to the last generation, so it's not as strong as the X, and so
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
So, but they want everything to work on both of them, and so devs have their like hands tied, and then they're going to be doing Sony's going to be doing the mid-generation. Xbox will probably do another mid-generation too, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's stupid, but everyone seems to be doing them. Plus, also an article we didn't pull up, it's Sony related, and I saw this recently. They're coming out with an actual PlayStation Portable that's not just like the streaming device for your current
Sure.
PlayStation, which devs are gonna have to make another patch to dumb down their PS5 games so they'll run
On that.
and I'm just like, what do you do? It's like,
Well, they're trying to kind of like the Steam Deck. Well, the Switch started it, and it turns out the Switch is actually a really good idea. Which, you know, still props to Nintendo. I think the Switch still is the smartest and coolest console. It's not just a box. Then the Steam Deck copied it, and it's like, oh, there is a market for this type of thing. So now they're trying to copy it to get on the money. But going back to Sony and the PS5 Pro, I don't understand it. It just for a normal consumer, unless you just have like wealths of money, it doesn't make sense to buy. It just doesn't. It's $800 and it's the stuff it can do.
$700, and then
it
it's
doesn't make
$30 for the stand because the stand doesn't come with it when it came with the original PS5, and it doesn't come with the disc drive, so it's another like $100-ish probably for that. So you're looking at $830 for basically what the original PlayStation 5 came with. Like, it is insane. And the thing is,
and the whole point of consoles where they're supposed to be like subsidized, and they don't really make money on the consoles. They make the money on the games.
I think
it
they're
seems
trying.
like
I think they're trying to make money on the consoles.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. They're like $800 is just that's a ton. You might as well buy a computer at this point.
Yeah,
a computer's better. I mean, I'm sure you agree with me that a computer is better than a console.
Oh, 100%. I only buy a console for the exclusives, and Sony stuff isn't even exclusive anymore. God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC. The Last of Us came to PC. I mean, a lot of the stuff is coming to PC if you just wait.
Like, there's a whole other market that like people will buy games on.
People want to buy games? What? What? People don't.
Damn, we gotta give you an Oscar for that one. I'll give you an Oscar for that one right there.
Thank you. People.
I want to thank me and English.
What? People want to buy games and not have to buy a console for the game. People want to just have the game work on their computer. Yeah, I know. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
It's $800. It doesn't financially make sense. It doesn't technical wise. It doesn't make sense. Nobody's running their PS5 at 8K in the first place, and thirdly, there's not even enough games to really even justify getting it to get anything upscaled in the first place.
And the thing is, any video they show is absolutely worthless because the bitrate isn't good enough on YouTube to even see the difference between like the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. The difference is so minuscule, and anything that comes out still has to work on your regular PlayStation. And in the presentation, Mark Cerny said that 3/4 of people run the game on performance mode because they want the frames per second. Like, everyone, I don't know why Sony didn't know this going into the console.
You would think they would.
People care more, and so the whole marketing is like, well, now you can get the frames and have it look like it does on graphics mode with the PlayStation 5 Pro. And I'm like, I don't care.
Nobody's complaining. I don't think anybody's, even if you put it on performance mode or quality mode or whatever the heck they call it on different games, the performance mode gets you higher FPS, but it also still looks really good. It's not like Horizon, for example, comes to mind. I had that game on performance mode, and that game looks dope. Like, there's not many games that look that good. I don't know. I do know. Don't get a PS5 Pro, please. I mean, I want games to not die and all that stuff, but like, people need to like fight back against these companies with their wallet when it comes to a point where it's
absolutely.
Like, this just doesn't make sense.
Stop making mid-generation consoles. It is absolutely asinine. It is so
well,
dumb.
If there's games and there's a meaningful update, I'm okay with that. But just because we have to make something, and if it doesn't make much of a difference, especially with the price tag on it, it's like, definitely don't get a PS5 Pro.
I mean, the thing is, like, consoles are fine. Like, I mean, I understand gaming is a hobby and people want to spend money on their hobby and get something, but consoles only do one thing. I mean, you can watch like stream Netflix and stuff on them, but like they really only do one thing. Like a computer can do so much more. I just,
Yep.
I just
Well,
don't. I
yeah, but
just,
they're not as easy to use, and a lot of people aren't.
yeah,
Most people don't see. They just want to sit down, hit the PS5 logo on their controller. The TV turns on, the PS5 turns on. They just click X to play
yeah.
the game, and they don't. That's it. They don't have to worry about anything else. There's no going into settings and tinkering with it. For a PC, there's not only going into settings to tinker with it, then you have to deal with the whole operating system, which people just don't. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to learn how to do it.
Yeah, and if Sony keeps porting their games to PC, I'm probably not even going to buy a PS6.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll-
assuming my computer is good enough, by the time the PS6 comes around, I have a hard time. I know you and I have both spoke about this before, but our computers are getting. We have the same GPU for anybody curious.
we
our
have the
GPUs
same
are,
specs basically. Our processors are the same too.
yeah, our computer is basically the same, but just not even on purpose. It was just like it was just like we were both buying a computer at the same time, and we both took our time and figured out what the best spec for the price is, and we both ended up building like the same computer without talking to each other.
Yeah, we built basically the same computer, but
yeah, a lot of our computers are a number of years old now, and the intensive games that we want to play are starting to it's starting to show its age a little bit. So
yeah,
we'll see if by the time the PS6 comes out, we'll have new computers and we won't need a console.
yeah, and also learning my 3D animation in Blender and like trying to do renders. Oh my god, it takes so long to render with my graphics card. So I really want that to be able to do better, render faster, and preview stuff with a more advanced graphics card. But anyway, speaking of Sony, we're gonna switch to even more Sony news. So
Sony really, they're racking up the news this week.
Sony's racking up the news this week. So in the time we've been gone, so sorry for being gone.
About a month.
Yeah, but in the time we've been gone, Sony released their next new big Overwatch wannabe clone that was going to take the industry by storm, and it's already closed down. And that game was Concord. It was
I didn't
supposed
even
to
get
be
to play it. I don't need. Was it free to play? I knew it was coming out, but
it was
I
$40.
didn't think. Okay. Oh man, that's also a bad idea. You got to make that game free to play.
It's a 5v5 hero shooter. So there was a pre-order beta. And,
Nobody played that.
And people
Can you imagine what the numbers were on that?
More people played it who pre-ordered it, and there was a decent number of that. But then when they did the free beta, that number was cut in half. So even when it was free, so basically the people that half the people that pre-ordered canceled their pre-order. And no one else really came in to play it when it was free because the number went down. And then I think I want to say I saw the statistics somewhere on a YouTube video, but Sex with Hitler at that time he was doing this video, which is one of Brian's favorite games that I got him a couple Christmases ago.
Yeah, I've played it multiple times.
It has a higher player count than Concord. at Concord's peak, so Sex with Hitler is a bigger game than Concord.
We also shouldn't just assume people just know what Sex with Hitler is either. So there's a Steam game.
It's on
called
Steam.
Sex with Hitler, and that is what the game is: Sex with Hitler with anime girls. So that's what the game is, and that's what you're dealing with. And that game is hitting a bigger player base than what Concord's hitting. There's trouble going on. Or maybe just, I've played it. I can recommend Sex with Hitler. Great game.
10 out of 10,
10 out of 10.
But, I mean, maybe problem is Concord wasn't horny enough.
I think it had a little bit more problems than that.
What?
It might have just not been a good game. Yeah, I don't know. It might have just not been good.
From what I understand, the game worked.
Oh. That's all that we need nowadays. I guess that is something that we need to talk about. Like if a game just works when it comes out, that's something that's brought up in reviews nowadays. If something just works when it comes out.
The game worked. It just wasn't original from what I can tell, and just the aesthetics of the game were just absolutely abysmal. Like what is this? Is it a trash can with arms and legs?
This is a trash can. It looks like they got it off like the Epic Asset Store.
It's just like all the characters are not appealing at all. They're all like super ugly and
This
just
guy has
really
that
generic.
one. This guy down here has like that. Well, I don't even know where I'm. Where me, I'm pointing. There's this green guy. He looks like he has
For you, it's above you.
up here.
Yeah,
He looks like that. This guy looks like he has. What's that disease where your skin turns?
jaundice,
Like, yeah, he looks like he has jaundice.
and some really severe acne, and like it just none of the characters like look very good.
No, they don't.
It got hit. It got hit with like a lot
Game
of
was like
like.
8 years in development. This is what they came out with.
Guess what game came out 8 years ago?
I don't even know what year that was.
Overwatch 1.
Oh, that was a good game.
Yeah, so they were. It was obviously trying to be an Overwatch clone.
Well, any hero shooter nowadays is definitely trying to be an Overwatch clone because Overwatch, even now, is I don't want to say it, but you and I will say, well, that Overwatch is dead. But then you go look at the player base on just Steam, and you're like, holy cow, there's a lot of people playing this game that
Why
are
is
just
it-
on Steam.
And it's like overwhelmingly negative on Steam too, which is like bizarre. It's just
Yeah.
like
Wait, how many people are playing? Like, there's thousands of people playing it on Steam, which are probably what 5% compared to who's playing that. Who would be playing that game not on the Blizzard launcher or on console? That's only counting Steam. That's crazy.
I don't understand the appeal of Overwatch.
There's a lot of people playing it,
It's
and they're not
just-
playing Concord.
It's gone downhill so much, but at least Overwatch is free to play right now. I mean, like,
Yeah,
sure,
that's
Overwatch
true.
1 had like you had to pay in, but Overwatch 1 was a good game.
It was. Dang, you said it, but it was. It was a good
Overwatch
game.
1 was a fantastic game the first
Yeah.
month it came out, and then it just went downhill ever since.
Well, maybe longer than a month, but like it was a
No,
pretty solid game.
But they started patching it pretty quick, and like every patch they made the game a little bit worse. Like,
A little bit worse.
It was on a slippery slope when it came out, and it
Well, our
was
next
great.
hero shooter we're looking forward to is Marvel Rivals.
Marvel Rivals. I'm tentatively optimistic. I've heard mostly good things about that, and yeah,
I'll play it for one day and then be like, all right, I had enough.
yeah, probably because we finally got somewhere in Deep Rock, so that's something. So as to not leave Microsoft completely out and dry, Microsoft has laid off another 3% of its global workforce, about 650 employees.
That's what we make ourselves out to dry. We got more layoffs.
We got Microsoft doing what Microsoft does. So Microsoft's biggest gaming export is their employees. Just so we know.
Well, to be fair, Xbox doesn't make any games anymore, and all of them suck that do come out. I don't understand why Phil Spencer, or whoever the heck these head people are at Xbox, aren't being replaced at this point. I get it. Phil Spencer, every time I see him, cool guy. Seems like a nice guy. But why are no games that are good coming out?
He's allergic to good games. He actually hates video games. He's really just into football and the basket baseball and then like the hockey. Yeah, he's a hockey guy.
Probably.
Look at his shirt.
But even so, what sucks more is that like Microsoft is not losing money by having these employees. It's a very profitable company. Nvidia and Microsoft fight for the #1 spot of most valuable company on the planet. These companies are making billions in revenue every single year, and they're like, we gotta get rid of these 3,000 people because they cost the company $2 million. It's more than 2 million, but
And the
like
thing
it's nothing to Microsoft, is what I'm trying to say.
So like it was like I think it was like 1,900 people that were laid off a couple months ago. So
Sure.
that's like another like 6%. So like nine. So they've laid off like almost 10% of their gaming division this year.
Yep. Because weird. Well, I wish we could find out and understand why they're making these decisions. It's because they're making no money, but like what behind the scenes is going on where these companies and studios are having a hard time even getting a game out. Like what's the reason why they're not coming out with games, and let alone good games?
Well, it's like
I'm not saying that good games are easy to make. It's just they don't come out with anything.
You just drop like billions of dollars on Activision, and then it's like, oh, I guess we don't have money anymore. Fire everyone! Like, why did you hire them? Why did you buy them? I don't understand. Like,
I never would. They must just, I don't know. It just seems so obvious for you, probably for you as well. It's like trying to buy like Activision just seems like that was a bad idea. It never seemed to me like that was something they should have done. They bought it for like what was it, 6 billion, 4 billion, something like that.
I
If
don't
they
remember.
invested $4 billion into smaller studios that actually make games, I feel like they would have already made their profit back. I don't know. I don't know all the financials, but it doesn't make sense to buy Activision when they, I don't know. There's Call of Duty. I don't know if that can justify anything, but definitely buying.
Well, Call of Duty makes a lot of money, but it's just,
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It doesn't I don't know all the financials of what they're doing. I wish I did so I could take a look at it. But I never would. If you wanted to grow and get fans back on board with Xbox, supporting smaller studios with games that people actually play nowadays, at least on PC, because triple A games just they're like basically just like to stay away from them at this point. 'Cause they're either just bad or full of microtransactions, so you play
it's
indie
just,
games.
and they bought Bethesda, and like Bethesda's been on a giant L lately with Fallout 76
Well,
being
they've been on an
terrible.
L since they existed.
I mean, no, they had a slope up, and then now they've been on a constant slope down.
They've been on a slope down since 2011.
It depends on what you. I mean, I liked Fallout 4, and some people didn't like Fallout 4, but Skyrim is technically the peak, and then I think a lot of people said Fallout 4. I mean, granted, it is a
Hey,
start.
make yourself out of this
Yeah,
one. Keep going.
they
Keep
did
going.
they did start sliding for Fallout 4. I really enjoyed Fallout 4. I liked Fallout 4, but they do dumb their games down every single time they release a game. So Skyrim had decent. And people say that Oblivion's are like way more in depth than Skyrim, and it's just, but every single time they put out a game, they get less and less in depth from a gameplay mechanics point of view. They get dumber and dumber and dumber, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like the game's gonna just play itself. It's just gonna be a movie. I mean, next time,
Yes.
like
Yes.
it's generous to call their games third person action, and they're calling them third person RPGs, and I'm like, no. There's
This is
almost
just
no
a tech
RPG
demo.
mechanics. There's almost no RPG choice or anything left in Bethesda's games. And then, like Obsidian's got their next Avowed coming out, and it looks
Who knows? Maybe that'll be
okay.
good.
Like the
I don't want it.
last time I saw a video on it, I was like, oh, it looks fine.
Yeah.
For some reason, it looks like a last gen. Looks kind of last gen.
Well, they probably started it last gen. That game seems like it's been in development for a very long time.
Yeah.
You gotta really. I'm just noticing as we're talking about this. You gotta really know gaming to like just be able to like keep up with the conversation that we're having. You gotta really know what's going on. We just pull like a Avowed out with the studio that makes it, talking
Obsidian,
about
yeah.
the struggles we see.
I don't know. I mean, but it's a Microsoft-owned studio. I mean,
Yeah, you gotta know that too.
I just
Keeping up with the lore.
I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just gaming is in such a weird place. It's just sad to me personally. I'm just like I want gaming to be big and be good, but
It is. It's bigger than ever.
Speaking, so we don't end on a sad note. Satisfactory 1.0 came out, and I can't be happier. Coffee Stain Studios did an amazing job with Satisfactory 1.0, and like Snut, the community manager, like I think the day after it came out, 1.0, he listed the top 10 Steam games being played currently, and Satisfactory was number 6 or 5 or something like that. It's in the top 10 of Steam games currently played as of when it came out. So I'm like, that's pretty awesome. So super proud of Coffee Stain Studios for that. I love Satisfactory.
They made your favorite game of all time.
They've made my favorite game of all time. Good job, Coffee Stain Studio. I can't wait to see what kind of post-launch support they have for the game, and hopefully
Done.
we'll
Done.
get some.
They're cutting it. They're cutting it off.
No, give me an expansion. I want an expansion. That would be so great. I would love to see more Satisfactory. And I'm trying to get my way to see the new stuff they've added in 1.0, because a lot of the new stuff is.
Well, that's our go play a video game. Let us know what game you're playing. Right now, I'm playing Black Myth Wukong. I'm playing the monkey game. I've been talking about the game for a very, very long time. David, pretty much as long as I've known David.
Yeah, as long as I've known Brian, he's been looking. It's like, man, there's this monkey game
Actually,
coming out.
not as long. I've known you longer than we've known about this game, but I'm enjoying the game. David's playing Satisfactory 1.0.
Yeah, play
and
Satisfactory 1.0.
we'll see what games we end up playing next.
I'm still slowly working through Horizon Forbidden West. You know, it's just like
Yep, that's a.
it's
I
it's
also
a
like that. Those are some of my favorite games.
it's a back burner game. But now
Yep.
it's Satisfactory out, and like I said, you know, I'm learning 3D. So like when I'm not playing Satisfactory, I'm probably doing the 3D stuff.
Yep. Everybody go pre-register for the Pokemon card game that's coming out next month.
Ooh, Pokemon.
Yep. I like Pokemon, but I don't like the Pokemon games that are on Switch. I don't like Pokemon Go. But maybe the card game's cool, and they're coming out with a card game that I know it's quicker. They're modifying it a little bit, so it's quicker. So it's not like these 25-minute card game battles or whatever. So maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I'm excited for it. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes.
But with that, that's what we got.
Synthaholic games, lots of sad Sony news, and then just more the same
Just
sad
disappointing.
Microsoft news, and then happy Satisfactory news.
Hey, at some point we're going to probably this month, maybe next time we talk about games, the new Switch will be revealed. We know it's coming.
Ooh, maybe. That'd be cool.
Yep. Well, I don't know. I don't plan on getting it. But like, you know, cool to see advancements. And to be fair, Nintendo hasn't done anything bad recently, so we haven't had to talk about them. Granted, I don't think they've done anything. But at least we don't have to like dump on Nintendo right now because they've been quiet.
No news is good news. That's Nintendo's motto. Let's just
no news is good news.
Let's just not shake the boat at all. Let's not do anything.
Yeah, they're fine. They're doing a great job. Right now, Nintendo's #1 right now because they're not causing any trouble. They're not Sony's telling their employees to go work at Uber because greed is not the issue. It's just how much we pay you is not enough. The Xbox is laying off everybody, and then there's just Nintendo not causing any trouble right now. So good job, Nintendo.
Good job, Nintendo.
Steam always is the best. If you like Dota, go watch the International. All they need is Gabe to just like announce the International, and people like go wild because Gabe is still like the greatest thing to ever hit gaming. God bless him. He's my Lord and Savior. Also,
you're third. Yeah, so
it's the trifecta.
Anubis, Awa, and Gabe.
Oh man. So yeah. Enjoy your games. Email David at synthaholics@yahoo.com, and David, send us off.
All right, and I've been David.
I can't say anymore. I've said my piece. You're David,
and that was Brian. That would have been Brian. And until next
time, we're gonna
go
do our Watto Jar Jar Binks play a role play now.
This is gonna go. All right, guys. Until next time. See ya.